Dr. Z, if you had all the money, all the financial freedom, and all the time freedom that you could possibly desire, what would you be doing with your time? Aaron Antis, on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, we asked the question, if you had all the time freedom and financial freedom that you desire, what would you be doing with your time? Would you be spending your time in my man cave, in my basement, recording a show that you don't get paid to help produce?
That's what I'm doing right now, actually.
Would you, or what poor life choices have you made that have allowed you to end up in the man cave producing a show for the low, low price of $3.99? Again, the question, Thrive Nation, is if you had the financial freedom and the time freedom that you wanted, all the financial freedom, all the time freedom that you've been desiring, what is it that you would be doing? All this and more on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show and the radio and podcast down.
3, 2, 1, boom! You are now entering the dojo of Mojo and the Thrive Time Show.
Thrive Time Show on the microphone. What is this? Top of the iTunes charts in the category of business. Drilling down on business topics like we are a dentist. Providing you with mentorship like you are an apprentice. And we go so fast that you might get motion sickness. Grab a pen and pad to the lab. Let's get in this. It's time to bear some fruit like some Florida oranges. 3, 2, 1. Here come the business ninjas.
Sonic boom!
Yes, 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 and yes. Dr. Z, it is ecstasy every time you are next to me. How are you, sir?
Right back at you. I am fantastic. I tell you what, as I said just a little bit ago, it's an anniversary for me. I know we don't always, we record one day, and then who knows when they're going to get released into the atmosphere and go everywhere. But today technically is an anniversary of me being in my new home, which I'm very proud of, which I love very much. And I'm just a blessing. I thank the Father in heaven every single day. I'm telling you what, it's like I'm on vacation and not the movie Vacation.
You're like, it's kind of like you're reading my mind right now.
Because
I am reading here from, this is a Napoleon Hill notable quotable.
Yes.
In today's show, what we're going to focus on is, in a perfect world, if you had all of the financial freedom and time freedom that you were seeking, you would be doing what? In a perfect world, if you had all the financial
we're far
freedom
from a perfect world,
and time freedom, what would you be doing?
What would you be doing?
We know that Dr. Fauci would be wrestling a bat out of a cave and mixing it with fetal tissue.
And
That's what he would be doing.
Spinning the, what am I going to say today with lack of science knowledge, spin board?
You shouldn't wear a mask.
No mask.
Two masks. Shouldn't shut down the
I think it
whole
might work.
We know that Dr. Deborah Birx would be wearing she'd be picking out scarves right now.
Oh, yeah.
She had all the time freedom and financial freedom.
She has a closet just designated for scarves. Did you know that? That's a fact.
Is it really a fact?
No, I don't know.
That's not a fact,
Okay,
ladies and gentlemen. That's not a fact.
We know that. It could be, just like with COVID. Everything about it is like, it could be.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a timeout real quick, and we're just going to say, you know what? And if you had all the financial freedom and time freedom, that you were seeking, what would you be doing? And I'm going to go first after I read this Napoleon Hill quote. Then you guys can all one-up me with false humility. You know, where people have goals where they go, I just would want to save all the children, and I would want to give all my money away. And then after I ran out of my money, I would be giving
I'd borrow money
to give it away, and I would die without a dime.
Mozambique.
And that's how I would end world
Africa.
hunger. So
yes.
You guys can all one-up me.
You know that your son was named after Napoleon Hill? Did you know that?
I did know I named my son.
Did you know that?
I did. Napoleon Hill, I did name my son after Napoleon Hill, the best-selling author of Think and Grow Rich, the number one self-help book of all time.
I love that, though. I love the way you put it. You have to think. Think. And then you can grow rich. And we're here to help you in regards to what you're thinking of.
So what we're going to do,
what we do on the show.
We're asking you right now, listen, what would you be doing if you had all the time freedom and financial freedom that you wanted? What would you do?
What would you be doing? What would you be doing, Clay?
Okay, so here we go. This is the notable quotable from Napoleon Hill. It reads, somewhere in your makeup, perhaps in the cells of your brain, there lies sleeping, the seed of achievement, which if aroused and put into action would carry you to heights such as you may have never hoped to attain. It's powerful.
Powerful.
So what we're going to do, we're going to break down the categories. So everyone get out a sheet of paper. You want to write down the words faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, and fun.
And That's a great story about the last one, the F6.
We're gonna put that on
We'll
the
weave
shelf.
that in
We'll
a
come
little
back
bit.
to that. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a great story.
It's a great story.
So let's talk about it again. So many of you are listening right now, and you are working hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
you're getting after it.
You're doing. Aaron, you delivered pizzas at Domino's.
I did.
See, you started off at Chiquita O'Brien's as a dishwasher.
Oh, I
worked at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. We've all had our sacrifices we had to do to get where we are, or to get where you're going. You have to make sacrifices.
I can't remember Chiquita O'Brien's. That touches my little heart.
No, it's a good. Listen,
That touches my heart that you
there
remember
are
Chiquita
certain
O'Brien's.
mythological stories that you want to share, and you want to kind of keep that story going. But this isn't a myth. This is fact. You worked at Chiquita O'Brien's, and you watched the heck out of those dishes.
I was a professional dishwasher at the age of 13, and I tell you what, I'll be honest with this, and I'm not a braggadocious guy. I'm a humble man, but I will put up my dishwashing skills. I mean, step up, or step down. If somebody wants to have a dish off with me, I'm ready.
So
I am ready.
Let's talk about this for a second, though. Let's really have that. Let's have that thought, okay? So for me, for faith, I would go to church at a church where they taught the Bible, literally.
That's controversial.
Without any apology. So right now, the church I have found that best does that in Tulsa would be Guts Church. But I will say this to people out there. Anytime I go to a church, I've ever been to a church, if it starts to become a thing where there's topics we won't talk about because of politics, I start looking for another place, which is currently why I like attending Guts Church. I love the idea that nobody there is wearing a mask. I love that the praise and worship music is epic. I love that the Bible is quoted the entire sermon. I love all that. So as it relates to faith, I would make sure that my kids are in a church so that when they get older, they're not running around searching for the purpose of life. I would make sure that my kids know the Lord so they wouldn't depart from him as they get older. That's what I would do with my faith. Now, family, I would have 5 kids and a wonderful wife. There it is.
Check.
Done. I'd make sure I'm spending time with them each and every night in the hot tub.
Hey,
Done.
speaking of family, I know you're building a new swanky castle.
Sure.
And where are you in the construction? Because this was right across the street. I thought this was your end-all to end-all. I mean, you put in this.
Yeah.
I don't know how much this pool costs. Don't tell me because it'll blow my mind. You have your backyard looks like it could be in a Disney resort.
It is.
I think so. Yeah. So you did all this. You upgraded this. You made this house super swank. And now you bought this land and you've got this concept. And now you're going to move yet again. Is this the final move? And where are we in building that house?
I thought this was the final move. And my wife found a property that she thought was a great fit. And she pointed out that, hey, listen, we're going to spend this much per month on the Elephant in the Room call center, no matter where we put it, if we lease a space.
Right.
We're going to spend this much per month on a house, no matter where we put it. We're going to put this much. And she put it all together. She said, why don't we just put it all on one piece of land? And I said, well, that's a great idea. And so we looked, and zoning land can be difficult. So we recognized this property wouldn't work for that. Although I wanted it to. I'm on the record. I wanted this property to work. I was content. I'm like, this is my spot.
Yeah. So I was, guys, don't take my man card, but I live with women, and HGTV is on most of the time.
I've heard of it.
Just so
and I saw this show. It's called Love It,
Love It,
or List It. Yes, and I got sucked in. I got to admit it. I got sucked in.
How many houses did you pick up?
About 3. And so I thought this is crazy. I care. I'm actually invested in whether these people are going to love it or list it.
Come on.
And what you did is you're telling me is that this beautiful home you're living in currently, that you've upgraded, that you put this killer backyard in with a double deck and a man cave to die for.
It's
and
nice.
a chicken coop with Tom the Turkey.
With silky
Can I
chicken.
explain
And now
to you how
you're listing it.
Let me explain how I've learned to emotionally process the fact that I'm moving into a house that definitely I would not be building if I wasn't married.
Why is that? No, you can't just throw that out there. You gotta. Come on.
Hey,
come with
from
the goods.
From the home building side, let me jump in here as an expert in this field. It's called the power of the purse.
Yes.
The purse.
So let me explain this.
She's in charge.
She's in charge.
I'm not going to get into the specific number, but I want the listeners to understand this. my wife and I, we have lived in over 10 houses, and every time it's like we buy the house, we'll get a good deal, and then I flip it, sell it.
And then you get run out by the HOA.
Correct. But I mean, every purchase has been like a financial move. It's like we'll buy this house from this guy who needs to sell it now. We'll flip it. We'll sell it.
We'll sell it.
And so, and then my wife, worked. I mean, this is almost 20 years, and before we had kids, she was working 60 or 70 hours a week, and I never paid her. I just didn't, And
you paid her all right.
That's
right. Every now and then you'd be like,
that's why she.
Hey, honey, guess what? It's payday.
Oh. I was basically a marital gigolo. no, seriously. So I didn't pay her, and I just did the math. I was like, if I paid my wife, because she left the Office Depot where she was the assistant manager.
Oh yeah.
And if I would have just kept paying her that rate, plus the overtime that you would pay anybody else for that length of time, I would owe her some serious money.
Some serious jack.
And so I thought underneath that total, there's this total.
We'll settle out of court by building the house you want me to build.
So I thought that's how I can emotionally process it, and also that it would make her happy.
This sounds like my friend who recently started talking about, I figured out what the check would be that I would have to write if I gave her half. And I figured I might as well get her a new house instead.
I'm just being real. I am not personally excited about the new house, but my wife is excited.
Whoa, time out. That's not what I understood. I understood that you had a portion of the house that you got to design.
But I would prefer not to. I'd prefer to stay here.
Even with the caveat of the commercial side of it, that you could do stuff.
I'd prefer it here, yeah.
Really? Why?
Because I just don't want to move again. I don't want to acquire things. I'm like into the Volvo phase of my life.
It's safe,
Volvo.
but it's not sexy.
Have you seen have you seen his Volvo? I mean, it's
pre-dented.
It kind of tells you everything you need
to
know
Volvo,
about
it's like the jeans with the holes in it.
They're safe, but they're not sexy.
Yeah,
that's where he is right now.
And then this is the thing is, I really hate windows. As you can tell, I cover them all up in every office space I've ever been in.
Oh yeah.
And the whole house is a window.
A window, but the man cave's not a window. Okay, so where
yeah.
are we in the construction though? Because we're talking about
family.
family.
The wood floors are in.
Okay.
All of the sheetrocking has been done.
Have we mud and taped?
Yep.
Okay.
Fixtures are going in right now.
Okay.
So we're getting there.
You're getting there. You're
getting there.
You're going to be
and
moving
she's going to be
soon.
excited, but it feels like I'm in like a museum.
Are you allowed in the rest of the house though?
I mean, I'm allowed. I never go to the rest of the house. No. A lot of parts of this house I never go to. But it's like the ceilings are too tall for me. It's like I'm playing racquetball.
It is. They are. I've been there.
It's funny.
I've seen it. They're tall ceilings.
I feel like playing racquetball.
Well, last time I went there, he drugged me through the mud. I mean, we had 18 inches of mud to walk through. I mean, I still have mud in my car from the time I went over there. Nearly got stuck, and basically it was like a pad site. And he's like, "There it is." I'm like, I drove all the way out here to see a pad site and to fight.
See,
mud.
to me, the perfect deal is you take all cinder blocks, you build it underground on top. It's into the side of a hill or something.
Yeah, but you got that
cannot
great view of the water.
You cannot see it from any drone. It's underwater. It's dark. There are no windows. I'm serious. That's what I would want.
That's what we call a bunker. Actually,
yes, that is a bunker.
But we're talking. If you had all the money,
it's called a nuclear.
If you had all the money that
silo.
what would you be doing? And I can tell you this: family. It's very important for me. Faith goes in first. Second is family. I want my wife to be happy. I do. I want to do the best I can, and so that's what. So that's how I made that decision. Mm-hmm. Third is
wait a second. Are you going to sell this house or lease it?
I'm going to sell it probably.
Okay, I'm just curious. I mean, I want to know what's going on here.
Yeah, we got a few neighbors that want to buy it right now. Now the finances. Okay, again, if you had all the money in the world, how much of your time would you devote to finances? For me, I just enjoy business. It's fun.
It's fun.
I like it. You know.
But you're a winner. You like winning.
I do, and I like business,
winning.
and I like winning.
You're competitive.
Now fitness. I'm asking everybody, what are your fitness goals? If you had all the money in the world, how many days a week would you be working out? Would you go 3 days, 5 days, 1 day, no days? You got to think about these things. Then we get into friendships. Who would you spend your time with if you had all of the money? And who would you not spend your time with?
And ask yourself, of all the people you spend time with, who's the biggest idiot? And X-nay them.
And Phil Libin, who was the guy who helped build Evernote, the CEO.
I'll let myself out.
He talks about this. He talks about how happiness, he has a very great quote, but he talks about how happiness, in his mind, is minimizing the amount of time you spend with people not of your choosing, in his mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree, because when you go on a great vacation and you bring somebody with you who always brings the room down, it doesn't matter where you are. It's not a good trip. Not a good trip. So this is Phil Ibben on happiness. He says, the secret of happiness for him is minimizing the amount of time you spend with people you don't choose to be with. And I agree with that. To me, my number one priority in life is to minimize the amount of time I spend with idiots. I just can't. It wears me out. I can't do it. Yeah. That's my thing. So for me, that's like a very big, important thing. And then, Z, you introduced me to this concept of fun. And it was hard for me because it was like
that was a huge moment because you had the F5, F5, F5. You always talk about the F5, you know.
F5,
and I was like,
baby.
well,
F5 goals.
You're missing an F, and you're like, what? Because
like, is the secret F?
Yeah, well, it
Are you
was to
cursing
you.
at me?
It was to you, and the idea is that you've worked hard. You made a little do, re, mi.
Yeah.
You've got your faith and your family and your finances obviously in order, you know, and you've got your fitness and your friends all taken care of. And I look at you and I say, what are you going to do now? What are your goals to have some fun? I mean,
HGTV all the way, right?
There you go. Love it or list it, baby. Come on now, Jimmy D. But the point was that I was trying to make with you is that if you're not enjoying the ride, and you're a grinder, Clay. You enjoy the grind. I mean, you should have been like a lumberjack and said, son, just go cut down trees.
That's why I downloaded the Grinder app.
Yeah, what's your
only
profile?
To discover it wasn't the right kind of app.
I mean, it was like, I'm shocked.
No.
But I mean, seriously, you are a guy that loves. You're a workaholic. You love to work.
I do.
You try to see how early you can wake up every single day to get into work and
That's
just
right.
look around and go, what can I do? What can I do? When am I
I
gonna
try
do?
to wake up God,
What
but he's
can I
always
do?
up before me.
I know. That's a deep thought.
Yeah.
And what my point is that you've got to at some point enjoy. You got to take a few chips off the table, as we say. You got to have a little fun along the way. And even if it's not for you, even if you're like, oh, I hate traveling, I hate vacations, I hate, you know, if they don't have vodka and cranberry on the plane, I cannot fly to Disney World. You know,
Can't
but you know
drive
what?
to Okmulgee. Can't do it.
But you know what?
Vodka
Who's looking
cranberry.
to you for direction of fun
Yep.
is your family.
I agree. And you
Is your
brought up
family.
So now at the new place, I can tell you what I did. I realized, you know what? This house is going to happen.
Right.
So the slide has to be 47 feet long.
47. That's incredible. That's twice as long as 23 and a half.
Is that what you figured out
no, wait.
this week? 47 feet?
That's how long it is, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, 23 and a half.
But I'm just saying, it's for me, though, I had never thought about, okay, what is fun? So now we got the 3-on-3 basketball league starting on Tuesday nights here in a couple weeks here
Nice.
at the new place. I put a basketball goal in the new building,
Nice.
and I love that.
Love that.
Shooting some hoops this weekend. It's the best.
Noticed I didn't get an invite to that.
Oh, you'll
It's
get invited.
obvious. You don't want to bring
can
a
join.
ringer
It's called
in
the
right off the bat.
May cast division. It's called LEG, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's 3-on-3 on Tuesday nights. You go. It's 3-on-3, and the team that wins, something great will happen. For the team that doesn't win, not great things. We play. It's two. You have 2 pointers or 3 pointers. We have the lines being painted on right now. The 3-point line. The whole thing's being painted.
Is it full contact too?
Well, no. You play basketball with a certain. You don't want to like just be crazy, but there's no fouls. Like you can't be like, oh, I got fouled. Because that makes the basketball weak and it's dumb. So it's just more
close to Detroit. I'm familiar with that league.
You get the idea. So the idea, but it's going to be
Piston
we're
fan.
playing to 21 points. Yeah, it's like a Pistons Bowls sort of thing where you back in the day when people used to
Bad
foul
boys.
each other. No
Yeah.
flopping.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited. So that's
Not
gonna
even a baby flop is allowed. I mean,
well,
not
you
even
know,
like
if you
a
play
semi-flop.
basketball with guys who are competitive and they feel like they can flop, it's like, oh, you got me, bro. My ball.
Who's
Is that like the Italian guy that falls over when they're playing football and just like over dramatizes his injury and
Correct.
stuff like
It
He has
that?
to come out and give
becomes
the
dumb.
cool spray on his leg, then he jumps up and he's ready to go. Oh, yeah.
So again,
spray.
I'm asking people, if you had all of the financial and time freedom you wanted, what would you do?
What would you do?
And that's the question. So now I'm going to go to Dr. Z, who will one-up anybody. If you're listening out there, folks, he's going to one-up any of your goals. It doesn't matter what goals you have. You're going to leave depressed as you hear this show about setting dreams and goals and vision. No, seriously, though, he's going to share some of his. Not all of them, just a few.
Well,
Z?
I just got a text message. It came up on my Apple Watch because my phone's off, so I didn't. It's not dinging down here. And my buddy that I was trying to get his private jet for a spring break trip. I said, hey, what's the word? He said, give me. He just texted me, give me a call. So one of the things that I would say is that as you have financial success, your faith is good, your family's good, your finances are in order, so you have financial success. You know, the thing about it is I heard one thing someone say long ago, stuck in my mind, said, if you don't fly first class, your children will. In other words, if you're really successful and you leave a big inheritance, which we're called to do, even down to our grandchildren, you have to enjoy it. I remember there was a show one time, I forget the show, but it was a couple taking a cruise, and they were in the twilight years of their life. And on the cruise, they were very frugal. Even though they got the cruise, they were very frugal. Frugal. And the man had been a hard worker his whole life, grinding at the same blue-collar job his whole life, bringing home his paycheck, handing to the wife. And
a muffler builder.
Something like that.
Yeah, just building mufflers all day.
And on the cruise, they started talking about finances. He's like, man, I'm glad we could afford this cruise. I know we have to, it wasn't an all-inclusive. They were still watching their pennies on the cruise.
Dad's down there with the employees. They're working on the boat.
Come to find out, the wife, unbeknownst to the husband, had been investing a certain portion of the paycheck every month for 50 years or whatever it was, something crazy, and they were worth millions of dollars.
But he's down there making mufflers with the crew.
He had no idea. He had no idea.
No, not an idea.
And on the cruise, he finds it out, and he's like, "You're telling me that we're millionaires?" Back when millionaire was actually kind of a big deal.
Right.
You're telling me that we're millionaires and we have all these assets and all this money and all this stuff, and we're like just acting like we're in the poorhouse every single day and living like paupers? She goes, when you put it like that, I mean, it's hard to say, yeah, And it was just epiphany of, now what does he do? They're 75 to 80 years old, and all of a sudden he finds out he's got all this money. It's kind of an interesting twist, because then it was like, you could see in his face like, what do I do now? Yeah. What's my life look like now? I thought I had a projection of, just.
And I hope this show is that kind of a moment for somebody, because it's usually like right after somebody dies, or right after something bad happens, you go, now starting right now,
I'm living.
I'm going to start living.
Right.
So you want to start living before you're dying. That's the key.
Well, and I think what happens is there's two kinds of people, and we're trying to be somewhere in the middle. And what I mean by that is we all know people that have a champagne taste on a beer budget.
Mm. We get those customers.
Right. Yeah. In other words, people that want to project that they have more than they have, and therefore go in debt to do things that they shouldn't do.
Do you have 7 Volvos? Why are you driving 7 Volvos?
Why do you have 10 credit cards and they're all maxed out, right?
Well,
and then over here we have people that have they have beer taste, but they have a champagne budget, and that's the couple that was on that cruise I was talking about. In other words, they're making a lot more money, but they're spending very little of it and saving and just kind of growing that nest egg. And really the question is that a lot of people come to me and they ask me, Clay, this question. They said, how did you know when enough was enough? I mean, how did you know when to go from 7 days a week working to 6 days a week working? Because that took money out of your pocket. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How did you know to go to 5 days a week working? Because that took some more money out of your pocket. Because that had to pay someone, to work that. And doctors aren't cheap. And then so forth, 4, 3. I mean, how did you know? And when you know, because you're like, listen, I was working 7 days a week for the first 2 years that I was an optometrist. And after a while, I was like, you just kind of, somewhere in me said, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a day off now. I've done it. I've got some do-re-mi in the bank. I've got this going. I've got that going. I got this going. And I'm ready. I'm ready for a day off. And I took it. Hired a guy, came in and started working Saturdays for me. And then next thing you know, Sundays. Next thing you know, Fridays. Next thing you know, Thursdays. And pretty soon, I got down to where I wasn't seeing patients on a regular basis at all. And someone said, well, didn't that cost you a lot of money? And I said, yes. But you have you have time and you have money.
Time and money.
Time and money. And you have to balance them. And you can't try to get time too much until you have enough money to balance it. And it is a balance.
And I'm going to throw this out for somebody because this is so important for someone to get this. There are 2 philosophies you can have here. One is you have job, and you hear a lot of self-help people say, a job means just over broke. That's what a job. You hear a lot of, like Jim Rohn said that. I've heard Michael Gerber say that. I've heard a lot of self-help people. They say a job means just over broke. However, I've met a lot of people that say a job is the joy of building. Like I've met people that just enjoyed building. They just enjoy, and you say, well, why is Michael Jordan playing basketball, or was he at the age of 40? Why was Kobe Bryant playing at the age of 40? And you're like, it's just sad. They're going to hurt their legacy. They're not going to. And they do interviews with Kobe, and Kobe's like, I love the game of basketball.
I love playing it.
I love playing. And then when he finished playing, he started coaching basketball with his kids. Yep. Michael Jordan, it was like his thing. There's a lot of musicians that just like to tour. Yep. And then people say, well, how come you don't retire? And then they go, I just like to tour.
When are we going to start touring, by the way?
You are.
I mean, when are we?
Maybe we're on a world tour right now digitally. Maybe it's traveling all around.
Oh, maybe we're on. This is the tour. See, that's the thing. I'm forgetting.
I'm just saying, somebody out there, you have to understand that somebody out there, you're wired where you just like to work. And that's what you do. You like it. You just the joy of building. I see pastors who are in their late 60s and 70s who are still bringing it strong.
Oh, yeah.
And some people are going, man, when's that guy going to retire? Never.
Why would he?
I see like the founder of Hobby Lobby. That guy's going strong, David
Stud.
Green. You see people like Walt Disney going strong. People like Steve Jobs working all the way to the end. People like Sam Walton working all the way to the end. There are certain people that just love it because it's the joy of building.
Walt Disney's dead, by the way. They did freeze his head, I think, but I think he could be dead.
Well, this changes everything. No, but I'm just saying is that there are certain people like the cast of Star Trek. Leonard Nimoy and Shatner, those guys were shooting those films as long as they could.
I mean, Shatner he's still rocking it.
Because they enjoy it. But other people, it's like you're doing a task you're not really a fan of, but you're doing it, you're delaying gratification until a certain point. So you just got to, this is very important that we take a moment out today and ask ourselves, if we had all of the financial and time freedom that you wanted, if you had all of the financial and time freedom that you wanted, what would you do? Aaron Antis, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've got a lot of thoughts on this subject.
And by the way, Aaron Antis runs Oklahoma's largest home building company, which is the largest home building company in this studio, as well as the largest home building company in Oklahoma, with his brother Joe.
We're pretty sure.
And I want everyone to know this. Joe, if you're listening right now, I want everyone to know this. Aaron will tell me, hey, listen, Joe does a lot of the work. In fact, we probably do equal amount of work. But I'll tell you this, in his inner secret man, Aaron Antis believes that he does 95% of the work, and Joe is just riding on his coattails. No, I'm just kidding. I know Joe listens, so I'm just messing with him. Okay, so back to you.
Hey, so that's not true.
That's all right, Joe. I'm saying what your brother's thinking.
Yeah.
We never talked about it. I sense.
We know it.
I'm trying to create that creative tension.
We're just trying to bring truth
Or truthiness.
That's good.
Okay, back to you.
Good. So I've got a couple of things that I like. Now, I have had the thoughts of, when do you ride off into the sunset and you have enough and you're just going to go be permanently on vacation, right?
When do you rent that mule?
And,
Pina coladas.
I've had investments that leave me in a place where I've contemplated it because we're at that place. But I also, here's the thing for me, for us to keep growing it, then we can keep helping more. And I know that's the noble concept that you said. Not to mention. But for me, that is a huge part of my passion in life, is to help other people.
Let me clarify. There are people we've all met, this is what I'm referring to, who
are disingenuous.
They never give money back to anything ever, and they always get up and go, well, I want to give back to the yada yada park. I'm donating $10,000. It's going to be named after me. Now I realize
I got a passion for
$14 million last year, and I donated $10,000. I don't normally like to talk about it, but since I am bringing it up, I mean you're bringing it up, and since this park is so again, there's that false humility. We're just being real right now. We're being raw.
Yeah,
back to you, Aaron.
So, anyways, I like to do those things. So that's my drive behind growing it bigger. Because I can only eat so many steak dinners. I can only travel so much and go so many places. And I get to a point where I'm full from those steak dinners. So it's like I can only consume so much personally, and I do get a lot of satisfaction out of helping other people.
Are you going vegan on us? Is that what this is about?
No, definitely not going vegan.
Is this your vegan come out? Are you coming out of the closet and you're going vegan?
No, definitely not going vegan.
Tried
it once, didn't
just
enjoy it.
Just checking.
But, I want to go help. Like, we're building, 2 St. Jude homes right now. Last year, we raised $2 million for St. Jude. After having visited St. Jude and seeing the impact and meeting a bunch of the patients, like, that is just an awesome thing to be able to be a part of. And then we've got different ministries that we like to support around the world. I mean, one of them I've talked to you about quite a bit, Clay, but we've got some friends who are in Thailand, right on the border of Thailand and Burma. And she is the only government-recognized safe home in Thailand, and they rescue children who are being trafficked, and that's Life Impact International.
Life impacting. St. Jude.
And so we like to help them. That's a huge thing for us. Like, that gives me a ton of satisfaction being able to help that.
So you have clarity about what you would do if you hit all your financial goals.
Extremely clear.
And now here's the thing, and James, you have met a lot of people that are very wealthy.
That's
Yes,
Jimmy
I
as
D,
an
by the
attorney,
way.
very wealthy. You've met a lot of these people, a ton of money, and super miserable.
Yep.
It
Sure
doesn't
thing.
mean
They
that
hate their kids.
it doesn't mean that having money causes you to be hateful. Money is just an amplifier. It makes you more of who you
It
are.
really is.
So what happens, James, when somebody you've met some clients? We're not asking for specifics. When somebody does not have clarity of purpose and all they're doing is chasing money.
Well, they lose their family, and they have a big house on the side of the river, or the side, or what is it? Skytook? Isn't that what we were talking about before? Skytook Lake. There's all these big houses.
Hey, listen, don't get into specifics. Listen, folks, there's just a specific place I know of where it's sort of an urban legend of if you've made a lot of money and your family hates you, you buy a house at this certain lake.
And then you hide there.
And you hide there from them. And so I'm just saying is there's a lot of people, not necessarily at Skytook, other lakes, where there's a lot of these bachelor guys who their family hates them, everyone hates them. But it's like they've made money their only one goal. No one ever had this conversation with them. It's not there. In my opinion, no one ever said, time out. What are you doing?
What's up?
Because it is possible to put every money first for everything. I mean,
Right, well, there's F6s, but not everybody even concerns themselves with some of the Fs.
That's
I mean,
true.
they go, faith, I'll get to that one of these days.
Fitness.
Family,
I've heard about that.
Fitness, I'll start tomorrow. Right?
I struggle with the fun. I don't know.
Aaron,
I like cars,
Aaron.
but that's about it. Like,
Aaron,
help me. Help me.
I'll be your mentor
Okay.
for fun.
Okay, let's do it.
You just got to
When do we get
just
started?
give me a blank check, and it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
Ooh, that
But Jimmy
sounds
D,
expensive.
you're still talking about these people that have a ton of money and are miserable.
Oh yeah, they're miserable.
and that's
They're
no- we
even
don't want
miserable at
that.
their jobs. They're overweight. I mean, I knew people in New York like this. It was really, really just eye-opening for me, anyway.
And I could just say, I'm going to throw out an idea, and maybe this is helpful for some. I'm trying to give all the different perspectives you could possibly have here in a way that's hopefully actionable for everybody listening here. Philippians 4:11 from the Bible is a verse that I have been just marinating on recently.
Marinating.
And it says, not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Now, this is what I have found. If you're listening right now and you want to have a luxury car, write that down. I want to have a luxury car. Okay, let's say you do. Think about the trade-off of any possession that you buy. Just think about it. So if you have a luxury car, you have to insure the car. You have to park further away so people don't ding it, hit it, whatever.
It's just a car.
And you have, but I see a lot of people that don't embrace the trade-offs of things.
Right.
And for me, I think since about the age of 30-ish, I've just decided for me, before I buy something, I'm going to think about what's my responsibility with having the thing, whatever the thing is. So it's like, for me personally, I'm not saying this about anybody else here. This is just me personally. I have found that I like to rent a lake house. Me personally, I like to rent because I'm going to go probably twice a year. I like
Okay,
to go,
that's fair enough.
have a good time. I'm not going to go every week. So for me, acquiring it, thinking about it, maintaining it, to me, that's for me.
Stressful.
Yeah, but again, somebody else says so you got to just ask yourself, because if you're not careful, society's going to say you need to buy another car, you need to get a bigger this, a bigger that, a bigger this, and you just keep going down, and you pretty soon you're
Keep trying to keep up with the Joneses.
And it happens if you're in college. If you get a degree, college will tell you need another degree. Then you need a master's. You need another doctorate. And if you're not in the college game, if you're in entrepreneurship, you need another business, a bigger business. And then you just start competing, and all of a sudden you go, man, I'm 70.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
I see it though. So I think it's really important. You just ask yourself, what does contentment look like for you? Think about it. What are your goals?
And you can't put your contentment on somebody else. I remember a doctor coming up to me and saying, hey, listen, man, I'm working 4.5 days a week, and we're taking a half day off Friday. We don't work on the weekends. Why are you doing that? And I said, because that's my life goals. And I said, but you know what? I'm not going to be heavy and ask you why you're not, because you're happy, you're satisfied, you're fulfilled in what you can make in your 4.5 days of working, your one little place, and you and your 2 or 3 assistants helping you, and that's okay. It's beautiful. And they said, well, what if I want to be like you? Well, then you're going to have an absolute attitude change. But it's not like you're having to work all those days, but you have to kind of restructure your brain and what you're thinking about.
Love it.
And you're going to have to say, listen, I'm going to have to let somebody else carry the ball.
Carry the balls.
Because I'm used to carrying the ball. I'm used to being the running back. I'm used to carrying the ball the whole time, right? And unless you can kind of tab out with somebody and let them carry it, i.e., this was a dentist who came to me and said, I want to be the Dr. Zoellner of dentistry.
Dentistry!
Oh, I want to kill it like you're killing it. I'm like,
yeah.
I sat down one lunch with him, and I said, okay, well, tell me about your practice. He said, well, man, we're killing. We're open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, half a day on Friday, because,
4.5
I love
days a week.
I love me some lake time.
4.5 days a week. I work a consistent 6 hours per day, 4.5 days per week.
We shut down the office for an hour and a half for lunch every day because the girls need to eat, and I like eating
and
too.
I like to do a sit-down meal. I don't want to feel
Yeah.
pressured.
I mean, I feel, because you got to drive there, so I thought, a little drive time, give them an hour and a half. And so then but we're rocking, baby.
We're rocking.
I mean,
I'm all in. I invest 1% of my revenue in advertising. All of it, 1%.
And I'm like, well, are you happy? Are you content? Well, I kind of am, but I still want to be the Dr. Zoellner of dentistry.
I want what
right?
you have. I just don't want to put in what you're putting in it.
Well, there lies the rub. Because what happens is you say, okay, well, here's what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom,
we need to be
boom.
open longer hours.
Yep.
And if you don't want to physically see the patients, we need to get you another doctor in here. Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't want to pay anybody.
I don't know that anybody could do
Payroll would
it
go
as well
up.
as I do it.
I don't want the payroll to go up.
I don't. And I'm saying, no. But by being open longer hours, you'll get more money, and so your payroll is not that.
I don't want
anyway,
added responsibility.
My point is that you can't put what you think is a person should be happy with on them. They'll decide that. They'll decide to say, listen, I'm happy working part-time, and the money that I make is I do this with it, and I'm happy with whatever it is.
Yep.
You can't say, listen, you're not working 5 days a week, 40 hours,
Don't
60
put your
hours,
goals on other
70
people.
hours. Right. Don't put your goals on other people. And that's my Aunt Connie story, which I won't go into right now. But if I'm really... Maybe that's my Aunt Connie story. We've done how many shows? 2,400?
Yeah,
2,500?
about 2,500 shows.
Yeah, 2,500 shows. So I'm not sure who's listening right now where you are in the hierarchy of the shows. But the Aunt Connie story goes, here's the short version. I'll do the long version another day. But the short version is walk up to someone saying, you know what, you could be so much more.
Why did you settle to be an optometrist?
You could have done so much more in your
Brain
life. I'm
surgery.
really disappointed in what you've done because I knew you were destined for greatness.
You could have been a proctologist.
You could have done so much more. And you look at them and say, you know what? Thank you for your kind words of encouragement. And I just want you to know that I'm very happy and I'm very content with where I am and with what I'm doing. And I think that's the thing that we kind of get into sometimes. We look at somebody and we say, you know what, you could be so much more. But if they're happy.
That's happening right now every week with Elephant in the Room. It's weird as anything. People reach out and go, you guys need to have a location in Owasso. You need to. You need to have a men's grooming lounge in Owasso.
You're missing it.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It's a suburb of Tulsa for those that don't know.
It would kill it if you. And I'm going.
Kill it.
That's great, but I don't want to open one. Then, well, why? Like, then I would have to be there. I'd have to open it. I'd have to lease it. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to hire people, train people. So it's super important that you don't let other people put their goals on you. Aaron Antis will go around the room here. Final thoughts as we talk about if you had all the financial and time freedom you wanted, what would you do? Final thoughts, Aaron Antis.
The other thing is I have to decompress at a certain period of time every year, and my favorite thing to do is spend time with my wife. She is my best friend in the whole world. I don't get enough time with her. She is so awesome. So I go to Alaska, And, we have a place in Alaska. I go up to Denali National Park area. I go out on the most remote road in Alaska.
First off, this analogy is bizarre. 1, I'm not your wife.
Freaking
2,
out.
I've never been to Alaska. 3, I don't know what this Denali thing is.
And 4, I spent a lot of time with your wife, and she never mentions Alaska.
Sorry, back to you.
So anyways, we go out to the most remote part of Alaska on the Denali Highway. We take our truck and our camper and our ATV, and I sit and grill food and look at the most incredible mountain range on Earth, the Alaska Range, and I can see multiple glaciers from there. It's just an amazing, picturesque place.
Do you have bear spray with you?
And we do have bear spray.
Are you
with us.
serious?
No. I have large weapons, actually. So it's a little different kind of
shotgun.
Hey, let's not get personal, okay? What you do with your wife in Alaska, we don't need to know about
Okay.
it.
Just wrestle the bear.
50 caliber gun. So
50
yeah.
caliber guns.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
Desert
God.
James?
Okay.
Yes.
Final thought. You've seen a lot of people have some super success financially and love their life.
Yeah.
Some people that haven't. What's your final tip, final comments as it relates to, again, if you had all the time freedom and financial freedom you could possibly desire, what would you be doing?
Well, me, I'd be spending it with my daughter. I'm going to make up for some lost time. She's in New York. I'm not. I'd like to sort of recultivate that, travel with her, do some things, bring her here. You met her. It was a great time. So that's what.
And I would say, folks, if you're out there today and you haven't had this thought in a long time, I would encourage you as homework today. Just get out a sheet of paper, write down, if I had all the money in the world, I had all the time freedom, all the financial freedom needed, what would I be doing? And I would hold that thought for an hour or two.
And the F6, you need to write them down and write down things underneath it. What would you be doing with your faith?
Faith.
Right. I mean, we're not going to tell you what to do with it, but what would you do with it and why? Your family. I mean, what would you do? Would you go on, maybe you'd say, listen, okay, I'm going to commit to go on a vacation a year with all my family. I'm going to take my family on a vacation every year.
We'll go to Lowe's together as a family, a family vacation. We're going to go to Lowe's.
No, someplace like a vacation place, Clay. Not like where you
Like
would take
Atwoods.
them. No, you don't take them to Atwoods to look at chickens and nail guns. You look at
You
you
would
take
take
them like Disneyland or the
Okmulgee.
the Atlantis in the Bahamas. You go on a real vacation. And
You haven't lived until you haven't gone to Disneyland.
and then your fitness. Are you saving some money? Is your 401k? I mean, what are you doing with saving money? Because that's very important. You need to really look at that, Clay. And then you also say my fitness. I mean, come on, really? It's January now. It's the beginning of 2021. It's actually not January, just February today.
February,
We're talking
baby.
about this. February.
We'll release this
what
show
really-
soon. But
Yes, but what really are you going to do this year for your fitness? I mean, get serious about it. Are you going to get in shape? I mean, because getting in shape and working out is a very important thing for our body, because if you're not feeling good, then you don't want to do these other things. And then fun. What are you going to do for fun? What are you going to do to enjoy the ride, to enjoy the hard work that you're doing to get these other things done?
The reward.
The reward,
Hey, real quick before we wrap up today's show, Z, I could I'm excited. I know this show's changed the trajectory for somebody out there.
I hope so.
They've been in a kind of a rut, a habitual cycle of chasing money and not knowing why. And folks, if you're out there, I'm telling you, we have got so many free resources for you. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com,
thrivetimeshow.com, all one word.
/free resources, you go there, you can download an ebook version of any book I've ever written for free. Or we have an incredible online school, and more people are discovering it all the time. You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. It's $20 a month. You click there on the online school button, business school. It's $19 a month. You're going to learn everything you need to know to start or grow a successful company. Z, let's end this thing with a boom. Are you ready?
This is so much fun. I like going back old school, and we're actually teaching people practical steps on how to start and grow a business, be an entrepreneur, live the best life they can. That's what we're about.
That's what we're about.
It feels like 2019 again.
It does, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
It feels so good. It feels so good. I mean, play me a song. It feels so good. It feels so right.
It does, but why are you touching my leg is the question I have for Aaron right now.
Holy cow!
Okay, ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.